Bam bam.
Bam bam.
Bam bam.
Bam bam.
Bam bam.
Bam bam, say yo. What bam 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 dilla.
It's in commercials, it's in movies, it's in TV shows. She should have been making millions of dollars.
I decided I have to fight for what is rightfully mine.
Bam bam dilla. Bam bam.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast. And today, we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this lady is a writer, a producer, and a director, and her latest film out right now is called Bam Bam, the Sister Nancy story. You know, we have in the building today, we have Alison Duke in the building today. What's going on?
Oh, I'm feeling blessed. Thank you so much for having me here. It's so great.
Thank you, because I've seen you're a real busybody right now, especially since you have this film out right now. I see you all over the place, so I'm really honored to have you in my seat tonight.
Well, anytime I can get down to Scarborough, you know, that's the thing. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, because I know you used to party in Scarborough and stuff. That's how a lot of this film even came around.
Yeah, you know, I just remember, you know, back in the day, I'm just saying back in the day. That's to tell you, you know, I'm an older person. When I used to go to Scarborough basement parties, and back in the day, they used to play the music in sets. So you'd have your R&B set, you'd have your soul set, you'd have your, you know, your reggae set, you'd have your, you know, whatever, you know, funk set. And I remember when, you know, the reggae set came on, and we were having a good time, but it was all like male voices, all male entertainers, right? And then they would drop a Sister Nancy track, and all of us, all the women in the party, we would just go nuts. I remember just when hearing her first record in the party, like, oh, this just came from Jamaica, boom. And we just went crazy because not only did she sound good, she made us feel amazing as young women in the party. And she was just as good, even better, I would say, than the men that we were hearing. And they would just keep on like repeating the record over and over again.
And that's amazing to know that you went from being in a party, listening to her, enjoying her music, to now you met her and you did a documentary on her life. How does that feel to actually live that type of life there? Where, okay, I was partying, and then now I got to grow up and do something for somebody I was listening to.
You know, I've been talking about this for a bit, like since the film has come out, but I'm just, the way you said it, I'm actually getting emotional about it. It's, you just don't know what life is going to bring you. And you know, if I hadn't prepared or even been interested in film, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. But because I pursued this profession, I was able to get a full circle moment. Yeah. And it's just the way you said it. Maybe it's because your voice sounds so good. You got one of those good, you know, radio voices.
Thank you.
But, you know, it's just something. And I feel really blessed.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, before we even go too far into this project here, give us an elevator pitch of who you are and what you've done.
Well, my name is Alison Duke. They used to call me Goldilocks, because I used to have long golden dreadlocks. And I used to be a writer of music and entertainment in Toronto. And I just got interested in film, and I started to make documentaries. And next thing you know, I'm an award-winning Canadian filmmaker.
Wow. I remember one of your docs in particular, Raising Cain.
Yeah.
That's one, if you're Canadian and you've been around from the 90s, early 2000s and stuff, that's one of those docs that's cemented in your mind forever.
You know, it's funny because every year I get people calling me about that doc. It was produced by the National Film Board of Canada. I pitched it to them, and they decided to make the film. It's really a Scarborough story, a story about my brother's hip-hop group called Citizen Kane, when they were dropping their first record. But there was no black radio, mainstream black radio. There was a lot of college radio, but not, you know, mainstream, and they were trying to make their mark in the Canadian music scene. And it was just showing them as black men coming together, making music, and their trials and tribulations, doing that. And I just remember, when that hit the scenes, I remember we were like, I think it was Bloor Cinema that we had the launch, and it was like 1,000 people in the line. I think I told the National Film Board, you got to be prepared for a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, sure. And then I think a lot of people just rushed through, and they didn't even pay, and they just saw. But it became a cult classic, and I think even people who write about music and Canadian documentaries, they don't even really include that. I noticed that. They don't even really include Raising Cain. They forget about it, or they don't even know about it, or maybe they're from out of town and they don't, they don't know the real. But people call me all the time about that documentary, and even to this day. But you can't get it anymore. You can't get it. It's unfortunately it's not available.
It's not available.
No, so I'm going to try to get the rights back to make it available for the people.
Definitely. That has to be around. Sister Nancy's story, Bam Bam. How did that come across your desk in the first place to actually this type of a project?
Well, I was working late one night, so sometimes it's good to work late. And I got a call from one of her DJs. She's got DJs around the world, and so she's got a DJ that takes care of Europe, and DJs in the U.S. that takes care of that market, and she has a Canadian DJ that she's been friends with for like 17 years. And he just called us up one night, and he just started telling me, he's looking for someone to make a documentary. And I'm not even sure if he said Sister Nancy at that point, but I think he may have. And I said, sure. Like, is she still alive? Like, I didn't even know she was still alive because you didn't hear that much about her. And then I did my, after that phone call, I did my deep dive and I found out she was alive and still touring. So I just remember him saying, before we hung up, he said, I think you're the company, Oh Yeah Media Group. I think you guys are good to do it, and it's just as long as she likes you, then you can do it. And then I got nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, Sister Nancy, I gotta. But then we hit it off. We had a phone call. We hit it off, and then the rest is history.
Okay, and what was the first thing that you guys did to start this project? Because I know a lot of times movies and documentaries, they're not filmed in sequence. They're a lot of times filmed out of sequence. What was the first thing you guys started to do?
Well, this was a big challenge for me because we started filming in 2020, or starting to think about filming in 2020, I should say. I think her managers and team was trying to get her to do something around South by Southwest. Maybe it was a South by Southwest adjacent activity party, whatever. And that was one of the first big, events that got canceled. So I was like, okay, how am I going to make this film if, we're in the middle of this pandemic? Like,
we can't really move around.
We worked so hard to get the green light with Crave, and it's just like we can't do anything. And I know at that time, at the beginning of that year, she had about 40 dates lined up. So it was going to be like, go on tour with her and then tell her story in between. And so, we had to sit on it for like a year and a half or a year or something. And before we can get the first shot, or the first filming of her. And it became a remote situation. I had to direct it remotely.
Wow.
And she lives in Jersey because I had to put together my questions, put together my shot list. And I worked with a really amazing cinematographer there. And he got the first images for me, really, remotely.
Technology, eh?
Because we didn't know when it was going to end. But I said, I need something because I don't want to wait and then, not know what the story is when we're ready to go. And so it was between that and lots of conversations with her to the point where, she was like, Alison, you done know everything.
I heard she's really a one-take queen, where it's like, listen, once you turn on this camera, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and we're not doing it again.
That I didn't expect to happen. And, early on in my career as a documentary filmmaker, I was known as someone who's really good at, observational type of docs, like fly in the wall, that they used to call it, like, verite. And being able to just capture a story and put the scene together in a dynamic way. Well, documentaries has changed, since then. A lot of things are constructed, or you get retakes. You can tell people, oh, that lighting doesn't look good. Let's do it again. Can you say it again? You can do all of that. But with Sister Nancy, no. And I kind of knew that, but I didn't really, I just remember we were doing a scene and I said, Sister Nancy, you kind of walked out of frame. Can you just do that again? She goes, I'm not doing it again. And she pulled me aside and she goes, I just want you to know something. If we're doing this, you got to catch it as it goes. I'm not doing anything twice. I'm not saying anything twice. And so the whole film with her filming, like shooting her, was all like one take. And I had to really be on my toes. Like when she does something, I have to figure out my way in and way out of the scene and make it make sense. Right? So that was a really amazing creative challenge, because it just got my juices going again in terms of filming in that style. And that's why the film...
running and gunning.
And that's why the film feels so dynamic. It feels so raw and fresh, at the same time very slick and beautiful. And it just has that energy. Whenever you see her on the screen, it's not, I'm telling her what to do. We're capturing what she is doing, the realness of Sister Nancy. And that's who she is. It goes on her brand. Like, she is a real person. She doesn't wrap up. She doesn't this is what you get. And so that's why I think people fall in love with the film too, because of her and her energy and how we've captured her.
What is she like as a person now, outside of the music? What is Sister Nancy's energy like?
The same as in the film. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet, but she is really, she's a dynamic individual. I call her, I kind of think of her as the anti-celebrity, because she doesn't worry about, oh, is her makeup right? Is her, she wearing the right thing to walk down the street? Like, she's not about that. She's just like, I'm just going to be myself. She lives in the moment. She lives in the moment. Like, clearly, she doesn't think about, oh, I'm, whatever I'm doing, I got to go and change myself. I have to fix myself before I do it because I don't want anybody to see me. No, she's just like, I want to do this. I'm just going to do this. And they have me, warts and all. You see me as I am. And that's the way she is. She can be, I don't want to give it away, but her daughter talks about her. Her daughter's in the movie.
Yeah. Definitely, because I know it premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. And what was the reception like there when it first came out?
Tribeca Film Festival was awesome. When we got the call to go, that we were selected for the Tribeca Film Festival, I was just like, oh my gosh. I got so emotional because we worked so hard on this film. And I just wanted to know that there was an audience for it. So when we got the call that we were going to play there, I was just over the moon. But when we got there, our first screening was in this big space. It was sort of like this theater event space, and over 500 and something seats. And we filled it all the way to the back. And people just loved the film. It was so great. It was such a great time. I don't remember it. I don't remember much of that screening because it was the first time Sister Nancy was going to watch the film. She didn't want to watch it without an audience, even though I asked her, you want to watch it? You want it before Tribeca? And she was like, no, I want to sit there with an audience. So I'm like, oh, brother. And so, I know. And so, like, hey, if Sister Nancy didn't like it, I was just going to be like, I would hear about it.
Right away.
Because she would be like, I don't like that to the screen. And everybody would hear, right? I'm serious. So I was worried about that, but she liked it, and it was just a big success. We had 2 more screenings, and people were coming back to see it in other screenings. So I was like, wow, because I really wanted to make a film almost like Raising Cain, where it became like this thing that people wanted to see over and over again, and I think that's what we accomplished. So fast forward to this morning, I'm having a conversation with Sister Nancy. We're just talking about a couple things, and she goes, Alison, when are you going to send me the film? And she goes, I really love it. I want to watch it every single day. And I said, oh, that's so nice, Sister Nancy. We'll get you something.
Because you have to remember, especially when it comes to reggae and dancehall, a lot of artists, they don't have a documentary about themselves while they're still living.
Yeah.
And that's the special part. While you're still living, you could tell your story. It doesn't have to be everybody else, because I know there's a lot of other people chiming in, but she's in there telling her thoughts, what she thinks, what she went through. That's amazing.
That is amazing to be alive and somebody make a documentary about you. And then also with the dance hall music and culture, there's not a lot of documentaries, period, on these amazing, incredible artists. And there's only a few documentaries. And in those documentaries, it's not just about one person's life. It's about multiple, the scene or whatever. So this is, basically the first one. Again, another first one about like a solo artist and their life from beginning to end, and her being alive to see, to see it. And I know it's not, I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm missing, because it's like, she's been in the industry for 40 years and she's in her 60s now, but she can see her life. It's documented. There's a document that's here for her fans and for herself.
That's really special there. And what was the most surprising thing? One thing that you learned about Sister Nancy while doing this film?
Oh, I've learned many things about her. She's a very kind person. She's a very giving person. She's an incredible cook. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. And I love soup. So, when I'd go to her place with the crew and we're filming her, she would always have a spread for us. She'd always have like some kind of like red pea soup or something for me. And it was like the most incredible Jamaican soup I've ever tasted. And I say that because I'm Guyanese. And so, yeah, bum bum for the Guyanese. And the fact that I just loved her cooking was just amazing. She needs to do like a recipe book or something, because it's incredible.
You said there was a couple of things. What else surprised you about her?
I was surprised how modest she is. Like, there's so many stories that I captured that, I didn't put in there just because she just wanted to be private, and I don't even think I feel good to talk about it, but amazing things. And I was like, wow, this person gave you that? And she goes, yeah. And then also that Beyonce, oh my gosh, is in love with Sister Nancy's music. And in fact, Bam Bam is her favorite track ever. She listens to it every day.
That's wild to even think about something like that, where you created this song many years ago. Yeah, you went on, you didn't really remember about it. And this powerful people in the music industry, this is what they love. They love this song, because I think that song, for a reggae song, has been sampled the most.
Yes.
Bam Bam.
Yes.
You heard it in...
Especially her as a vocal, the vocal.
Yes. You heard it in commercials, movies, other people redone it. It's been one of those crazy things as a song.
Yes. TV shows even. TV shows. Like, the other day I was sitting down watching Power, and there was a scene, and, the couple was at a party, and the song came on. The song that came on was Bam Bam, and they were doing like a reggae lineup thing, and it was. But they shot it beautifully. Like, everybody respects the song. They didn't shoot it trashy. You know, it was just really well done. And I remember just watching that. I said, Sister Nancy, you know that your song was there? And she goes, what? And I took a screen grab and I sent it to her. But it's just so wild that Beyonce loves that song, and this is also another creative full circle for me, because I really am a fan of Beyonce. I love what she does creatively. She takes a lot of risk, and so in terms of I won't say the style of the film, but just like the artistry, the risk taking in this film in terms of telling a story through the documentary form, I was really inspired by her. And making something different, making something that has its own unique style and energy to it. I really wanted to make something different, and I look to Beyonce for that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Talking about Beyonce, There's a clip that's going around right now that I seen on social media. You see her laughing. Where when Sister Nancy, you guys were on an interview the other day, Sister Nancy said to Jay-Z,
You look for me, I didn't look for you, so I'm more important than you.
that just speaks of volumes to her character and who she is as a person and her whole vibe.
Well, that's exactly what she was saying on the mic back then, when you just heard all the men on the mic in the singing reggae, or doing dance hall tracks back in the basement parties. She was the voice that came on and said, "I am better than you," and so it's on brand. And also, I know that she loves Jay-Z. It wasn't disrespect, but she was just standing her ground as a woman and just saying, like, this is the situation here. And I know Jay-Z loves her dearly, and he respects her dearly. He gave us permission, to use his footage in this documentary. I remember receiving the email that says, Jay-Z approves. I had to cut the scene, send it to his people, for him to watch that scene and approve it and come back. And, I just imagined that maybe he was watching it with Beyonce, and she said, "You got to approve that, that, Jay." But I know she respects him, to the max. But she's a dance hall. She's a dance hall, like the queen of the dance hall. And she wouldn't even say dance hall. She's the queen of reggae music, in her eyes, of DJing on the mic, and. That's what they say. Yeah. They say things like that.
You could see it was a little facetious. She was just playing around, but she just still said it. You understand? But you got to be part of the culture to really understand her whole vibe and her energy and how she was coming across. It wasn't disrespectful. It sounds like something somebody of her stature would say.
She would say that, and she believes that. That's her truth. That's the way she walks in the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we have so many great musicians that walk in the world like that. Look at Kendrick Lamar. Like, he just, I don't know, but he drops lines like that. But Sister Nancy, being a woman, this is what she's been doing from day one. This is how she talks. This is how she moves. So when I was sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, okay. But we know that Beyonce loves her music, so yeah.
Definitely. And even as a woman now, in a male-dominated industry, how important was it for you now to be able to bring a story like this to life, where you could understand her struggle in a different way than a man could? How important was it for you to bring this story to life?
Well, I saw there was a little bit of mirroring of what I was seeing as a documentary filmmaker, capturing her story and telling her story. And she would say it's not a story, it's her life.
Yes.
Right?
A story is something you make up.
She's still correcting me, but she's right. But it's just the way we talk and film. Like, we treat things as stories and not a person's life, but it's her life. Being an older artist in this industry, being an older filmmaker, sometimes I've doubted, whether or not I should continue. Maybe I should go and work as a professor in media studies at a university somewhere, because I fully have the, credentials to do that. Just because sometimes it's so hard to get funding or, getting people to listen to your vision. There's a lot of discounting of women's vision. And that pisses me off, and it gets me tired. Like, I can tell sometimes someone that I want something done 3 different ways, like one way, and they'll come back with it done 3 different ways. That's not even what I want, because they think that they know better than what I want. That's what happens to women.
Yeah.
Right? So with all that, I saw her, Sister Nancy, doing her thing amazingly well, booked for tours, traveling around the world, and just being herself unapologetically, and not giving any of that kind of energy anytime, cutting it off, You gonna no. I'm Sister Nancy. Don't mess with me. So I learned that while making this documentary personally, and it gave me more, I would say, energy. It gave me more confidence and determination to keep going in terms of what I want to do.
Yeah. So while you're creating this content and this art with her, you're learning at the exact same time too.
I'm being inspired.
I like that.
I'm being inspired, and the learning comes with, making the content, but having it relate to your own life. And that's what artists do. Mm-hmm. You take something in and you go, okay, this is the way I see the world. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing the world a certain way based on her life. And that's why I think the film works, because you can see that, I'm capturing this person who's inspirational, who is very, she doesn't stop. She keeps going. And it's really just being on that ride. It's just, it rubbed off on me.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
You see what you did good with the film? It was balanced where, okay, Sister Nancy, the artist, but there was also, she always spoke about the situation with the label that she had, Techniques label. And the fact that you brought in, who was it, Kirk Riley you brought into that?
Kirk Riley and Jasama Riley.
Okay, the fact that you brought them in to say their piece, whatever was going on their side there too, that's amazing. And that's you doing your due diligence, where you're not just saying, okay, we have the artist here, but she's complained and they made amends. Okay, let's get their story also. Let's see what happened. Let me hear it from your point of view so we don't put any words in your mouth. You said it, here you go.
Yes, that was very exciting. And that's where, I just wanted to know. I was curious, right? Like, okay, how did you see things? And it was just really interesting, their response. And in fact, Jasama Riley, the daughter of Winston Riley, she ended up coming to Tribeca to watch the premiere.
Okay.
And I was a little nervous about that. That's why I was like, okay, I don't remember anything that's happening this night because there's too much stuff going on. But she was there, and she was sitting behind me, and she just said at the end, amazing job, amazing. So I felt at peace with how I represented the family and whatnot. But that was amazing how I got them. That was amazing.
But that's a story. Storyteller wants to tell a complete story.
Yes.
Yeah. There's many sides to a story. So let me get as much as I can and tell the story, because you could see you included like Cool DJ Red Alert, Angela Yee. Young Guru was in there. There was so many people that were speaking their piece in this story.
Yeah, I love that. And part of, I creatively was inspired by Beyonce, but I was also inspired by jazz. I love jazz music. Mm-hmm. And jazz has this rhythm to it. You have different voices and sounds and like tempos and stuff like that. So I was also, going with this sort of like just this jazz feel, that it was this, telling of stories, but in different ways and different voices, and playing with the rhythm of, not only the content, what they're saying, but the rhythm of how they were saying things.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I know it's in theaters right now, but on February 17th, it's going to be streaming on Crave.
Yes.
What was it like now getting a partner like Crave on board for a film like this?
Crave was amazing. It's basically the first streamer that we are doing business with at Oya Media Group. Mm-hmm. And they came in early. They were very excited about the project. They were very excited about Sister Nancy. We had put together a really strong deck or pitch deck visually, demo. And it was just like a great partnership, because I think at the time they were doing a lot of music docs, or acquiring a lot of music docs. Mm-hmm. And and so I was just happy, Right. We had a good arrangement, and they gave, good notes, insightful notes, and, they left me alone after that. I think I got one round of notes, and then I went off and I finished the film.
Mm-hmm. You got to do what you were doing without them always, okay, do it this way, do it that way. You got to do it your way.
I got to do it my way, but it's always good to hear what your funders or what your executives are saying. It's very important as filmmakers to be open to notes, because it's a collaborative process. At the end of the day, you want to make the best film possible, and if somebody sees something, sometimes there's notes that are like, okay. But if somebody's saying the same thing over and over again, or they see something that's not quite right, and it can make your film go from, okay, it's just all right, to, oh, this is a great film, you should listen. Especially if they're in the industry for a long time, right? So I'm really good with notes. I want to make the best film possible.
Definitely. Right, as I said, it's in theaters now. February 17th, it's on Crave. Why should people go see this film?
People should go and see this film. They have to go this weekend, because this is going to be our last weekend, because the next week is, the following week will be the Crave release. But this is the last weekend. And they should see the film in the theater, because you get to see Sister Nancy on the big screen. The sound design is incredible. So you get immersed with this beautiful sound design that we created for you. The colors are amazing. And it's just one of those stories that when you watch it with an audience, you could feel the energy as the film is progressing. People are laughing at the same time, clapping, cheering. They're huffing and puffing at the same time. They're cussing the screen
It's
at the
a
same time.
communal experience.
It is, and we don't get that many opportunities to do that. I love going to the theater or the cinemas, so it was really amazing for me to be able to make a film that would get into the theaters. But so it's really important. But they have to go. You got to go this weekend, because weekends are very important for films, and Black films have to be supported. We can, as filmmakers, make the best film possible, but if people don't go, it's really, really hard for us. We have to show this industry that our films deserve to be there, and we have to be able to make films continually for the theaters in Canada, especially. But I know that this film is doing really well internationally as well, because we're getting calls 3-4 times a day. People want it in Australia. They want to do like a tour of 5 cities in Australia. Somebody wants to have it in the UK from in the fall, and just tour the UK. People are calling from Belgium, Brussels, Colombia, Brazil, everywhere. It is going to be playing in Italy next month. It's going to be at the Pan-African Film Festival this month, or in the next couple of days, the 10th and the 15th. It's just going everywhere. And that's a testament to Sister Nancy and her music resonating everywhere in the world. But then also the excitement of the film. People want to watch it over and over again. It was in the UK already. They're inviting it back. It was in Amsterdam already. They invited it back last weekend. They told me after that screening, they want to invite it back again. So that's 3 times in the last 6 weeks. It's in Amsterdam. So, yeah, people want to watch this film. It's a good experience.
Yeah. I know your nickname is the Queen of Music Docs.
Yeah.
All right. So then now you put out this Sister Nancy. What else do you have in the tuck that you will be able to talk about? Or I'm pretty sure you're working on something else there.
Well, I have a few things on the table. I can't talk about it now because I don't want to jinx any of them. Okay. But then I also want to disrespect the people in their process. But I have some really interesting and amazing projects on the table in terms of music docs. I think I want to make some more.
All right. I can see that glimmer in your eye when we speak about this project in particular. So I know for sure there's some more stuff on the table. As you said, can't really speak about it, but I know factually that there's more stuff on the table.
Yeah, and some, I'm looking for artists that have a really interesting story, an inspiring story. And I want whatever it is, the music has to be incredible because I love music. So
that's the whole basis.
Yeah.
Is the music. Leave some social media contacts where they could check you out, check out what you have going on, your company, all that good stuff before I get you out of here.
Yeah. IG, Facebook, Sister Nancy Doc, Oh Yeah Media Group. You can find me anywhere, Alison Duke or The Real Goldilocks. Goldilocks is spelled a little different, Goldeelox, The Real Goldilocks. And I just really am happy that I have this project out there in the world, and I just want people to support it in the theaters. And if you can't get to the theaters, watch it on Crave. Watch it over and over again. Just keep on watching it.
Yes. Get those numbers up.
Get those numbers up.
Yeah.
No, but I think you'll want to. Yeah.
Definitely. Alison, thank you so much. It's my pleasure, especially sitting down. We didn't really get into the depth of what you've done, but I think this is a good intro conversation, especially about this is what we're talking about, the Sister Nancy Docs. But there's so many other stuff that you've done that one of these days we'll sit down and really get the origin story of who Alison Duke is, right?
Oh, thank you so much. I love that.
Yeah.
You're great to talk to.
Thank you.
All right.
And I mean you too. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here, all right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out.
Bam 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 bam.
Bam bam ayo, what bam 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 dilla.
It's in commercials, it's in movies, it's in TV shows. She should have been making millions of dollars.
I decided I have to fight for what is rightfully mine.
Bam bam dilla, bam bam.
This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinesmusichut.com.